solar eclipses that I did just a couple of weeks ago. That video has skyrocketed to be the most watched video on the internet with over 3 million views in just 14 days. If you have not seen that video, it really will open your eyes to God's prophetic feast days, his prophetic calendar, and why he keeps doing things on what we call today the Jewish calendar, but in reality it's the biblical calendar that he holds to. So in this broadcast, we're going to dive into more things that I've discovered, the things that have been highlighted to me that's going to happen this April around the time of Passover, and specifically April 8th on the solar eclipse day, is just downright amazing. And so we're going to talk about that. And first and foremost, if you've not subscribed to this channel, do so right now. If you want to see more videos like this and videos that will teach you about the front of the book, the entire point of this ministry is to teach believers around the world what I call the front of the book, the Old Testament, and how it relates to the back of the book. If we don't understand the front of the book, if we don't understand Torah, if we don't understand the original Judaism in the first century and all the Hebraic backdrop from which the Bible was written, how can we possibly say that we understand anything at all? We're likely going to read into it our Western Greco-Roman mindset, and that is just a definition formula for disaster. And that's where we've been the last 1800 years, as the ancient Roman church has really fed us and watered down the scriptures to a place where sometimes we just need to get back to doing Bible things the Bible way. So if you want to learn more about the Bible from the original perspective, this is your channel. In the meantime, let's start off with CERN. CERN is an international body of scientists that have developed the largest Hadron Collider in history. It is a 17-mile, 300 feet underground tube that's designed to put particles in opposite directions going at 7 miles an hour under the speed of light and then collide them, which is extraordinarily difficult. It's like shooting a bow and arrow at 100 yards away from your opponent and hitting the tips just perfectly where they explode. That's what they're trying to do. And why are they trying to do this? Because they believe if they can get these particles to go at the speed of light and eventually come and collide with one another, then they will discover what's called the antimatter, or the dark matter of what is holding together matter to begin with. They know it's there, like gravity's there, but you can't really see it. They know it's there, but they have never been able to capture it. They call it the God particle. They want to discover what's holding this universe together. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just very simple. Open up your Bible and save billions of dollars. The Word made flesh is what's holding this entire universe together. Amen? But they want to find the God particle, and in that process, there's a lot of danger that's been speculated around this particular instrument, because this entire instrument and this practice has the potential of creating miniature black holes. Now, they say there's nothing wrong with that. It's not going to happen. And even if it is, they're microscopic and there's no problem. But they've never done it before. So how do you know that a microscopic wormhole won't pull the entire United States, or the entire world, I should say, into it, and off we go? Now, thank God we know that's not how it ends, because the Bible tells us the end from the beginning. But this is what's crazy. Number one, CERN was founded on September 29th, 1954. Now, that might not be a number that means anything to you, but as a Bible guy that goes back to the original language and understands the Hebrew calendar, the biblical calendar, and the 7 feast days of the Lord that are all about the first and second coming of the Messiah, I went back and found out that September 29th, 1954 was literally on the Feast of Trumpets. Now, that's really critical, because today it's called Rosh Hashanah. It's the civil year of modern-day secular Judaism. But in biblical times, this was the day that kings were inaugurated in Israel. So if a king came into his kingdom in Israel, let's say in February or November, it wouldn't matter. He wouldn't get crowned till king until on Tishrei 1, the first day of the 7th month of the biblical calendar. That's when kings were coronated. And we know that this is when King Jesus, King Yeshua, is going to be inaugurated as well. It's the times and the seasons. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 says that he put the sun, moon, and the stars in the skies for signs and for seasons. That word signs in Hebrew literally means omens or warning, and seasons doesn't mean spring, winter, summer, fall. It literally means Moedim, the appointed feast days of the Lord. We're supposed to know when to meet with him on these days. All of these that we do every single year, for those that do this, they're wedding rehearsals, they're dress rehearsals for that great wedding banquet in the sky when he comes. We need to know these things and understand these things. Now, why is this so important? Because CERN is about to start up the Hadron Collider, ladies and gentlemen, on April 8th, on the day of the biggest solar eclipse in American history, where millions of people are flying from around the world. They are going to collide these hadron atoms, these protons, these electrons are going to be collided on this day. Now, why in the world would they choose April 8th to do this? I have no idea. But this company is creepy on every level, and I'll tell you why. Not only is CERN in CERN, Switzerland, but I want to show you this because this is cause for, in my opinion, a cause for alarm, and here's why. If you take a look at where it's actually at, okay?
Get new replacement windows and big savings during Renewal by Andersen 31-day sale. Don't waste another minute dealing with your difficult, inefficient windows. Instead, call for a free window diagnosis and see how Renewal by Andersen can help add more comfort to your home at an affordable price. Buy one.
A large portion of CERN is located in the territory of St. Genus Poli, probably not pronouncing that right. In Roman times, it was called Apollicum. The town and the temple were dedicated to Apollyon, the destroyer. So this is ancient Horus. This is Shiva. The town Apollyon literally is dedicated to the god of destruction, the god of chaos, the destroyer. And this entire Hadron Collider is right in the middle of Apollyon. Now, why is that so important? Because if you go to the book of Revelation, this is what we read. It says in chapter 9, verse 1, 2, and 11, to him was given the keys of the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue his name is Apollyon. Now, you might not find that just a coincidence, but the fact that they've got this Hadron Collider, which some people, even very, very important scientists, are scared out of their mind of what is going to happen. Now, CERN will tell you on their website, we have no intention of doing anything wrong. Who has intention of blowing up the world? Who has intention of accidentally cracking open a time-space continuum and having something on the other side? Well, I believe they're not telling the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So take a look at this quote straight from the director of research at CERN concerning the exact purpose of this Hadron Collider. Listen to this. Quote, something may come through dimensional doors at LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. And out of this door might come something, or we might send something through it. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of CERN, they tell you it's all for scientific research. No, they're looking for the God particle. They want to know what's holding the universe together. And ultimately, they're trying to get into time travel. They want to open up the curtain of what is behind our dimension and get into the multiverse. This is what they're after. They believe there are multiple universes happening and in parallel to one another simultaneously. And they want to tear that open. And they know that something has the potential of coming through it. Now, we just read out of the book of Revelation that the Apollyon comes out, that the doors of the deep the gates are opened up, and crazy things come out of the deep. Could it possibly be, would it be that much of a stretch to say that maybe we're the ones that do it? Maybe in our effort in mankind to find a wormhole, to get into Star Trek world, to discover more and more and more and more, like the Tower of Babel, that eventually maybe we actually do open up the space-time continuum. We open up the doors of the second dimension, and the demonic realm comes alive onto this earth. It's very possible. They just said that's exactly what they know is possible. So for what's really fascinating is evolution is dead. that scientists at the highest level now know there is a spiritual realm. There is another dimension beyond ours, and they're trying to tap into it. And my friends, the last time this happened was the Tower of Babel, and it didn't go over too well for them. Take a look at the actual icon. This is the logo that CERN has. Now, a couple of things that I notice about this logo, you might have seen this on the internet, but I think it's really, really worth taking a look at. Number one, they say that this is a Hadron Collider going into circles, but to me, this looks eerily like a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse that's happening right in front of us. And two, if you take this symbol and you just unmix them, you take them apart, here's what it looks like. These are actually, it's 3 6s put together. Their logo is 3 6s put together. Now, you might say, oh, that's a conspiracy. Oh, that could have been this, could have been that. I'm here to tell you that the devil does not come out blatantly and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to use this company to represent me and bring on the Antichrist. No, he does things always subliminally. So there's always a mixture. It's a tree of knowledge of good and evil. So you've got the truth, right, which is, oh, yes, they're doing this for scientific reasons. They probably have no nefarious motives whatsoever, right? Who were to believe that? But the devil is involved in the details, and he's always hidden in plain sight. And I do believe, my personal opinion, could be wrong, oftentimes I am, but at the end of the day, you can be the deciding factor of what you believe. But to me, trying to break open the spiritual realm and send somebody to the other side and bring something from the other side, and a company that has a logo that has 3 6s put together to make it look like sounds like something exactly what the enemy would do. And here is what's fascinating. Only company that I know of in history that's international in nature, that right outside the doors of this facility in CERN is the statue of Shiva. Now, they will tell you, oh, this was given to us by the scientific community from India. And that's true. But they don't have a statue. Can you imagine if the Christian scientists decided to gift them the 10 Commandments, and would they have that displayed outside of CERN? No, not at all. You know that would not be true. They are discriminating here on one level, and they are telling you in plain sight, this is what we believe. Now, who is Shiva? It's actually not even a she. They say it's a she, but it's actually a guy, but it's actually mixed, a guy and a girl. Sounds like a trans to me, thousands of years old, right out of the mind and the playbook of the enemy. And she is the goddess of destruction and rebirth. So her job is to destroy and then recreate. And that's exactly what Satan wants to do. He wants to destroy what God did and then recreate it in himself. And so Shiva is doing a dance with fire, okay? We know how the end of the world ends according to the book of Revelation and the prophets. And Shiva is the god. There's so much in it. I encourage you to go look at just Shiva and all the prophetic symbolism of what that goddess looks like and what she's doing right here represents. But this is outside of CERN. And listen to this. This is a plaque that's right next to the statue. This is what it says. Now, for those that just believe all this is just given by the Indian government, okay, if so, why is these words on this plaque? Quote, thousands of years ago, Indian artists made the image of the Lord Shiva absorbed in the dance from the copper chain. Today, in our time, all physical scientists are again using advanced technologies to create the format of cosmic dance. At present, scientists theorize of a cosmic dance. Actually stands on the foundation of ancient myths, religion, art, and physics. Modern physics tells us that the process of creation and cataclysm is not just linked to the beginning and end of life in the universe, but to the particles of the whole creation. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, this was quoted by a top scientist on a plaque right next to this Shiva statue that is validating that Shiva is the perfect representation of what we're doing. The particles dance on a microscopic level, and it's all connected to religion. It even says it in there, that religion, art, physics, All of these things are mixed together. They're all connected. This is where string theory comes from. They believe it's all connected. So this is incredible what's happening on April 8th, and that's just one component. Well, that's what I think anyway, but you tell me what you think right now. Put "from God" in the comments if you believe the Hadron Collider is from God, or put "from the devil" if you believe that Satan is going to use this at the end of time. Let me know right now in the comments below. Ladies and gentlemen, we just, again, talked about it, so I'm not going to go into great detail. I have a 33-minute video on the solar eclipses over America from 2017 and 2024 and the prophetic significance of those and the historical crazy things of war and earthquakes that happen. And again, I'm not trying to scare anyone. My job as a watchman on the wall, as a shepherd of the people of God, as a researcher, is to let you know these are the things that are happening or about to happen. Maybe we should just keep an eye on these things. Maybe be prepared. There's nothing wrong with having extra food, extra gas in your car. As a matter of fact, state officials are now coming out across the United States and telling people, keep your kids out of school. Make sure that you have extra gas and extra food. For the first time in American history, we have a solar eclipse, and the state government is saying, hey, by the way, you might want to not keep your kids in school that day. You might want to have some extra. Why are they telling us to have extra food and have extra gas in our car if nothing, they're not afraid of anything? When I was in school in third grade, I remember a solar eclipse. We came outside of my Catholic school. We looked at the solar eclipse. We went back in, probably had recess right after that. It was no big deal. But today, they don't want people in school. They want you to have extra food. Something is amiss. And on top of that, the National Guard is being released and instructed in all of these cities across the United States as some sort of precautionary measure. For what is the question? Is the precautionary measure? They've never done this before in history, modern history. They know something that we don't. Now, again, I'm not saying that anything is going to happen. I'm not a prophet, but what I can tell you is prophecy says that in the end days, there'll be wars, there'll be rumors of wars, and crazy things like this will happen. Earthquakes will happen. The sun and the moon will go dark. That's about to happen on April 8th. And so something might be birthed in the prophetic realm. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But let me show you this. NASA on April 8th, not April 9th, not April 7th, April 8th, is going to be launching 3 rockets into this solar eclipse for all kinds of research purposes, and that's fine, all dandy. But why in the world would they have to name this mission after an Egyptian god?
Now, why in the world, during the solar eclipse on April 8th, do they have to shoot up 3 rockets? Why do we have to do that, Israel? I'm not understanding that. Unless they are getting ready to do something else, like cause the sky to go dark or knock out the power grid so there's no communication. Because they're getting themselves handed to them. So could that be Israel? Because there is no reason why you should be shooting up 3 rockets up in the air for a solar eclipse, keeping kids out of school and telling us to stock up on if they're not trying to shut us down. And the only way they know that they can't shut us down is to knock out our power grid. Because no one else is trying to do it. If that was the case, it would have been happening. They're trying to do everything that they can because they know their time is up.
Called